Hello, I'm Professor Deborah Roberts, and I would like to talk to you today about the role of social media in business innovation. Turning on your mobile phone, your laptop, checking your emails is the first thing in the morning has become commonplace for many of us, particularly those of us that are now working from home. You may have taken a moment to drink a tea or a coffee, but the odds are you will have checked your social media accounts such as Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. In the space of just one decade, these social media platforms have transformed both the way that we live and work. With global reach, these multi-channel directional communication channels allow users to contribute content and become co-creators of both products and brands. For some managers, this amplification in the user's voice and the change in the balance of power and relationship is scary. But for many, it's seen as a business opportunity, an opportunity to innovate. Many companies have jumped on the social media bandwagon, and social media success stories have become widely shared narratives, highlighting the impact that social media can have on companies' fortunes. For example, as long ago as 2011, Burberry was spending more than 60% of its marketing budget on digital media. But are Burberry's the exception to the rule? Both academics and consultants have been touting social media as a resource for innovation. And as a professor of innovation management and marketing at the York Management School, I was intrigued by this. And together with colleagues in Europe and the USA, we decided to explore the opportunity to use social media for innovation, and in particular for new product development, which is just one form of innovation. We found that this topic was very much of interest to managers as well as academics. And so we worked with the Global Product Development Management Association and published some of our findings in the Sloan MIT Management Review, a brief summary of which I present to you today. The research was based on two large-scale studies in the UK, Europe, and the USA, and examined the role of social media in the NPD process. We then enhanced this work by research we did during consulting projects. We started with the premise that using social media for new product development should be a good thing, that it should help improve innovativeness and customer acceptance by getting closer to customers, thus improving profitability and market share. In theory, it should enhance the market research process and help generate better ideas and new concepts, enabling co-creation, that is, working together with users to develop new products. However, our first surprise came when we found that fewer than 50% of the companies were actually using social media for new product development. But perhaps even more concerning was the fact that some companies had seen their performance negatively affected. This is not what we were expecting. In particular, when using social media for market research, companies often found themselves drowning in a sea of information, what we call an information glut. We found that companies got distracted by the sheer diversity and quantity of data that was available from social media. The complexity of processing such information often wasted resources, and companies found it difficult to discern who to listen to and what data was valid and what was reliable. However, the positive news was that overall, our data did show positive effects for companies that utilise social media in all stages of the NPD process. But the companies that were successful had built the organisational processes and structures to support this. So let's look at this in a bit more detail. How can companies leverage social media platforms for innovation? To illustrate the various approaches, I use the analogy of a summer camp, and here I introduce Camp Explore. Then I will introduce Camp Co-Create and Camp Communicate for each stage of the NPD process. So, like parents who aspire to find the right summer camp for their children, companies must consider their social media needs with care. Social media shouldn't be something an organisation does just for the sake of doing social media, just because everyone else is. Managers need specific goals and need to ask, is our goal to understand the latest trends in the marketplace and obtain customer insights? Or do we want to co-create and work with customers to develop new ideas and concepts? Or do we want to support the launch of a new product and develop positive word of mouth? To achieve these things, new skills are needed and training. Here you see Camp Explore, and the programme here is to develop strong skills in market research and data analytics. Learning to work with data that is both structured and unstructured, and in mixed media formats using both text and images. Learning how to analyse blogs, tweets, and user-generated content. This is very different to conducting market research such as survey or traditional focus groups. Examples of activities will encompass learning computational techniques such as machine learning, sentiment and textual analysis. At Camp Explore, we suggest that managers need to develop skills of both a social scientist and a data scientist. This is not easy. These are very different skill sets. We then move to the next stage of the NPD process and we look at Camp Co-Create. Here, activities are designed to develop managers' collaborative and relationship building skills. They're designed to facilitate interactions with users. What is important here is learning to engage and select the right participants. Normally, companies in the past would work with target market customers, but to generate diversity of ideas and stimulate creativity, it is often important to involve non-target market and unconventional users. Often the source of creative ideas comes from this process, so creative problem-solving techniques are also needed. Companies may also want to set up ideation communities or work with innovation intermediaries that can do this for them, such as Munich-based Hive. We now turn to Camp Communicate, and this relates to the final and often costly stage of the NPD process. It revolves around product launch. Arguably, customer expectations have risen dramatically over the last decade, and companies often face the challenge of launching products now into a very crowded marketplace. So just being innovative in terms of your product is not enough. New ways of introducing the product to the market is important. Attaining positive affirmations on Facebook and Twitter can stimulate interest and can also lead to product acceptance. So at Camp Communicate, it emphasises managers improving their marketing communication skills, learning how to tell a story that resonates with the target audience, and how to connect with opinion formers, lead users, bloggers, people that will pass on positive word of mouth. Unlike the old traditional model of mass advertising that many managers have grown up with, social media is a multi-directional form of communication, and with this comes risk. In a social media environment, companies can no longer be fully in control and need to be comfortable and learn how to mitigate risks. So in conclusion, As we saw in the late 1990s with the dot-com boom, many companies make the mistake of following the herd, embracing whatever social media sites are in vogue. However, having a Facebook page, tweeting, will not improve a company's innovation performance. What is important still is having a strategy, having a social media strategy, one that is linked to corporate objectives and innovation objectives. It's also very important that companies understand the different platforms, as each platform offers something different and unique. So questions need to be asked. What are we trying to achieve? Do we want to develop insights? Are we searching for technical information? Do we want to co-create with our user base? Or do we just want to develop a buzz around product launch and develop a coherent social media strategy? Finally, we found, and the subject of a further study, was the need to emphasize the social. The steep growth in the popularity of social media is driven by people's innate human need for connection, communication, and social validation. And it is important that organizations and businesses recognize this and build it into their strategy. Thank you.